Hello everyone and welcome to Tombstone Disc Golf. Hello everyone, I'm Ed and welcome back to Tombstone Disc Golf. Today I want to let you know what's in my bag. So let's go ahead and get started. For starters, what I carry in my bag is probably about 6 different putters. 3 of them are just for practice and 3 are the ones that I actually use out on the course. Staying corrected. 7 putters, 4 are the ones I use out on the course. Not on the Porsche. Don't have one of those. My primary putters that I throw into the basket themselves are the Lunas. I do have 4 of those. 3 of these I practice with, and one that I used all the time on the course. The other 3 discs that I have, they are a 173 grain. This one here is a 170 grain. It's a little lighter, doesn't make that big of a difference. I find that the flight on these are extremely true. You put it on that line, it's going to stay on that line. I've gotten where I've been struggling with my putting a little bit, but this one has helped me out immensely, at least start pulling my game back together. I can, whatever angle I put it on, if I throw it straight, it's going to go straight. So it's a great disc. Brand new disc for my bag. It's not brand new anymore because I beat this one up pretty good already on the course. But it's a very good putter. The other putters I keep in my bag. Deputy. Gotta have it, for me anyway. I'm primarily a lefty. So if I get myself in trouble, or if anyone would get themselves in trouble, I would say that you want something that you're gonna get a full flight out of a putter. This one, I don't want to call it a full flight because that's kind of a misnomer. Full flight is a left and then back to the right. This one here, it will give you a flight to the left. I'm a lefty, so throwing left-handed, I want it to come back to the left sometimes. And if you're a righty, it will go to the right. So this one here, it'll flip and it'll stay there and it'll carry all the way around, and you won't get that tail back to the right for lefty. And just so you won't be confused, or maybe you will, hopefully you won't, I'm gonna refer to everything as I throw it as a lefty. So when I say left to right, for a righty it's right to left. So just so I'll say that up front just so it won't confuse you. But I really like this disc. It is a reliable disc. It will go to the left for me. Just how much, it would depend on how much power you put on it, and if you put it on an ante as well. I don't have to put this on an ante. I just throw it straight and it comes back for me. It'll come back to the left for me. It'll flip and just go. It's very reliable that way. I really like the Deputy for that. Another putter, 2 more putters I carry. One is the AVRX3. This one is 175 grams, star plastic. It is one of the discs that I can take out of my bag. I can throw it. It'll go straight. It'll hold true, and you'll get you'll get that natural finish to the right or to the left for a right-hander. But I really like that reliability. I appreciate that reliability. And not only this disc, but the Harp as well. The Harp is another disc that I really depend on for that finish to the right. Both of these discs are straight flying disc, and they'll give you a great left to right finish for a lefty, right to left for a right person. The Harp itself, this one here, what was this one? It was 174 grams. I was thinking it was 175. It's actually 174 grams. It, like I said, just as reliable as my AVRX3. Getting into the discs that I have in my bag, more so on the mid-rangers. I only have one type of mid-range in my bag right now. That mid-range is the EMAC Truth. I have two of them. One is in the Moonshine, and the other one is in a Lucid plastic. Both of these discs, the Lucid is 178 gram, the Moonshine is 171 grams, and these discs are another extremely reliable pair of discs. You get a very nice straight flight out of it, and reliable finish. It doesn't dive down and finish. It gives you a nice smooth finish out to your throw. Right now, this is the only mid-range I have in my bag. I do have a Rock 3 on order. I expect that to get here today or tomorrow. The Rock 3 is a disc that I've thrown many times before. It's been in my bag before. I just don't have it in there right now because the one I have is been broken in so much. I don't get a true straight flight out of it and finish to the right. It does flip out on me if I throw it too hard, so I'll get a hard flip and a finish. That's not a bad thing, but I just don't need that in my bag. I've got other discs that I rely on for that, but I wanted to get the new Rock 3s, get those, get them back in my bag, just get refamiliar with them again, because I really need that mid-range distance. I carry a lot of control drivers, distance drivers in my bag. If you look in my bag right now, that's what the rest of these are. So I don't have a ton of other mid-range. I have a ton of other discs, but they're not the ones that I want. I have piles and piles of discs. So let's move on to the control drivers, or fairway drivers, if you will. This one here is the Mall. It is 171 gram optoplastic. It is a great flying disc. It's by Latitude 64. This disc it has a 7 glide, so it will definitely float for you. What I primarily use it for is a left to right to get a full flight out of the disc. It doesn't finish hard to the right. It only has a fade of 1, so it's only going to come back slightly for you, and it's not going to come back hard. It's going to still travel forward for you as it's flying. But it does have a -2 on the turn. So if I cook this one up pretty high, put a lot of speed on it, it will flip out for me, but it will come back. Not much, but it will come back for us. So I really like this disc for that. You're actually going to see that theme probably quite a bit in my bag. And the reason why I do that is because as a lefty, with the courses that we played so far, they're very friendly to a right-handed throw. So I need something to go to the left. And I have a lot of discs in here that do help me out on that, just so I can at least keep up with the competition, i.e. my brother, his son, my dad, my son. I feel like I'm the one, bringing it up from the rear most of the time. Okay, this disc here is my FD, brand new disc. I threw it during a practice round that we have videoed. It's out on YouTube. If you guys want to see that, feel free to pull that up and take a look at it. I tried out a couple of these new discs and I'll mention which ones they are during that time and on that video, just so you guys can see the flight of the disc and what to expect out of certain discs. The FD itself, straight flying disc, extremely stable. That's why I have it in my bag. I wanted something that I could rely on, that could go straight, have a decent amount of glide on it as well. But I could put this one out there. It'll carry straight, probably about 275, 300 feet for me. I'm not a big thrower, but it will definitely reach out there for me and at least put me in good position where I'll have a good approach shot, if not putting. Leopard 3. G-Star Leopard 3. This disc has been in my bag since I started golfing. I really like this disc. It's 175 gram. It's understable. Really like it. I can get a full flight out of this, and it will definitely keep me out of trouble. I played at Valmont Park late last year, and I can't remember which hole it is. It's one of the later holes, probably around 14, 15, something like that. And there's trees sitting right there in front of me. I didn't have the height to get around a tree to go to the left, but there was a shorter tree to the right, and I threw this out there on a little anhyzer, and it went around that tree and laid right next to the basket for me. Really liked it, and I love that it flips for me, and it will give you a full flight. It's another one that has a very soft finish to the right for me. It'll break back to the left pretty good, and just a real soft finish to the right, so it won't die, or dive back. It kind of glides down. Favorite disc in my bag? The Eagle. I had never thrown one of these before, and at I think it was January of this year. No, it was December this past year. I went to the store, saw one of these, and it's a slightly overstable disc. I say slightly. It has a 3 turn. So I figured, what the heck, I'll give it a shot. This is the Star Plastic, by the way, and it's 175 grams. But I grabbed it, and from the first time I threw it, loved it. It reaches out, flies extremely true, and then gives me a pretty quick turn to the right. That is it is a turn 3 is the value on that, and it'll come. I'm sorry, not turn, but the fade. It just comes right over for me. I've gotten used to that. I love that in a disc, and I can really reach out and hit probably about 300 feet, 275, 300 feet with this consistently. If I want to throw it straight and I don't have to get it up high, I can just throw it pretty level, and it flies beautifully. Next 2 discs, T-Bird 3s. T-Bird 3 has kind of been a stronghold in my bag ever since I started as well. I do have this one in the, what is this called? Metal Flake Champion. Sorry about that. My mind just went blank. And then we also have the Star Plastic. This is a 175 gram. This is a 173. I throw this one quite a bit. This one here, I can get a very good turn at the end. It's a straight flying disc. If I overcook it a little bit, I'll get a little bit of flip, but I know it's going to come back. Really like it. This disc here, the Star Plastic itself, I do get more of a flip, but it will come back on me, especially if I put some extra speed on it. Very, very good disc. Okay, a few minutes ago I was talking about the disc that I use to get a full flight, or at least a good S flight out of it, to help me play on those predominantly, we'll call them right-handed holes, those dogleg lefts, or whatever you want to call it. I have 2 discs here that I use quite a bit. This one here is the Saint. It is a 9-speed. It's 7 glide, so you have a lot of glide on this one. It will flip for me. It'll turn back, and you'll get a nice easy follow through at the end. So this one here is the one I use if I just need a little, I need to get around a tree, or just kind of scoot out into the fairway again to give me a good shot, a good angle. But it'll jump out there, and I'll get a good flight out of it at the end. The next one is we'll call it its bigger brother that turns a little more. This one here is the Fury. Both of these, the Saint and the Fury, are both Latitude 64 discs. They are both in opto plastic, and they both are 175 grams. The Fury itself, It is understable, so when you throw it, you can throw it flat and it's going to break back to the left nicely for you, and then finish out just as smooth as the Saint does. It just has a little more, it just has a little more flip to it than the Saint. But if you overcook it, it will definitely do a turn on you, a 90-degree turn. I do like that. I do like the reliability of that if I need to really hit a good dog leg and get around a corner. So these are extremely a great utility disc for that. Now from one extreme to the other, now I'll talk about a couple of my discs here coming up that are my overstable discs that I have. This one is a PD. It is a 171 gram. It is the S-line plastic. I really like this disc. This disc, I don't care how hard I throw it, it's going to fly straight and give me a hard right turn at the end. And I use this disc quite a bit. I also have another disc in here that I use for that reliability, that overstable reliability as well. But great disc to have, and it's very handy in my bag. Now the next disc I'm going to bring out here, I have two of them. I was talking earlier about my favorite disc in the bag, the Eagle. This disc here is slowly becoming my favorite disc as well. The Eagle is a great control driver, but now we're getting into the distance drivers now. So these two discs, this is the Starfire X-Out Champion Plastic, Star Plastic. This one's 171 grams, this one's 175 grams. They fly, I will say, exactly like my Eagle, but further. So that's why they're slowly becoming a favorite in the control driver, or excuse me, the distance driver area of my bag. I can really rely on these discs. The Champion Plastic itself is a lot more stable than the Star. I will say that the Star gives me a little flip, not much, just enough to give me a good full flight out of the disc. If I need something that's going to hold true and then break out real softly to the right, I'm going to throw the Champion. If I need a little more distance, maybe a little more flip to it, I'm going to throw the Star. But these two discs here, I was very pleased with these discs. My other overstable disc, PD2. This one is a little, you get a little more flight out of this one than you do with the regular PD. It's a higher speed disc, so you can juice up, and you get juice up on it a little bit, and you get a good flight out of these. If you get some height on it, you're going to get a hard break at the end, breaking back to the right for a lefty. We've covered that already. Just want to make sure everyone knew what I was talking about. But yeah, you get a good flight, good distance. I've had this disc for, oh gosh, 7-8 months, and I've beaten it up pretty good. There's a lot of scuffs and all on this disc, but it has not changed the way it flies. It is a great flying straight disc, great turn at the end. I don't care how hard I throw it, it will not flip out on me. So I definitely go to this disc when I need to go, when it's a good lefty hole, I'll put it like that, so I can throw it out there and it'll go around the curve just like just like the PD. Very, very reliable disc. Two more new discs that I've put in my bag. I know when I was videoing the other day, when I was trying out the disc, I said I needed to try these out a little more. I did, before I decided whether I was going to put them in my bag or not. That's the Kongs. These are the prototype Kongs, and if you like destroyers, you're gonna like the Kongs. They have exact flight numbers. I will say that these two discs here, they are the ESP plastic. This one is a heavier plastic. This is my 173. This one's 169. So the difference in between these two, the lighter plastic, I can get a little more juice on it. So I will get this one to flip out a little bit for me, and then it'll come right back. It's always going to come back. This one here, I get a nice straight flight out of it, and just, you know, it just tails off to the right for me at the end, just like a destroyer would. You know, this one here, heavier plastic, I just can't get it. I can't get as much on it as I can with this lighter one. So I will get more flip out of it, which is expected, and that's what I wanted. And that's why I went ahead and got the lighter ones versus, you know, and a heavy one, just so I can get those two different flights. Plus, this is the only plastic you can get these in right now, or at least when I bought these anyway. But like them, they made their way into my bag. They're going to stay in my bag for a while, and we'll see how they fly as they break in. Which, the way I've been playing lately, it may not be long because I do like hitting the obstacles when they're out there on the course. Another distance driver I have in my bag is the Pharaoh. It's the Infinite Disc Pharaoh. This is the test run version. This was the first release on these. They I really like these discs. Actually, this is the third run on these. I misspoke. I really like the way these fly. You can get a full flight out of these. This one here, you don't get as much of a full flight as this one here. This is an S blend, and this is the I blend. The I blends have a tendency to be a little more understable, so you'll get a full flight out of it. Very similar to the Macbeth, the Destroyer and the Kong. As they get broken in, you'll get a little more of a full flight out of it. The I-Blend Pharaoh, you're going to get that straight out of the box. This one here, you're going to get the S-Blend, you're going to get more of a straight flight. You're not going to get a full flight out of it, but you will get some good distance because it's a high glide on this disc. And you will get a pretty easy, a gentle fade back in. It doesn't come back hard, it just kind of comes back in. The I-Blend Pharaoh is very similar to the last disc I have in my bag that I absolutely love. So let's jump over to that one. My last disc. This disc I've had several different types. I've had it in Star plastic. I've had it in G-Star plastic. The reason why they're not in my bag right now is because they might have went swimming and I couldn't get them. Or actually one of them is on top of a school out in Loveland, Colorado. So, but these, that disc is a Shrike. This one here is the Glow Champion plastic. The Shrike itself is a disc that you're going to get a full flight out of. This is 175 grams. I can still, you know, put as much on this one as I could on my Starfire that I have. The one difference is this disc will give you a full flight. Every Shrike I've ever had, I've always had that reliability. You will get a full flight out of it. The S flight, it's beautiful. It gets you, you know, probably 15 to 20 extra feet when you get that full flight out of it. And I really rely on that because I don't have a long arm. My best day, I could probably throw about 425. I might be able to squeak out 450, but that's not a consistent throw. And I contribute that to my form. I'm still working on my form. I'm always working on something. And speaking of form, I'll get back to this in just a second. Speaking of form, what we're going to be doing, one of our upcoming videos is we are going to video each other. We got our video set up. We're going to get a side view, back view, top view, so we can see every angle, and we're going to put that out there. You guys feel free to critique our throws. If you guys, the way we throw, if you see something that we need to correct, feel free to mention it. I'm definitely game for trying to tweak my form, if you will. But back to the Shrike. Like I said, I've had Shrikes in my bag ever since I started playing. I was kind of bummed when I lost my two that I had, and I looked online at Infinite Disc, and they didn't have the plastic, the mold. They had the mold. They didn't have the plastic I wanted. They didn't have the weight I wanted. Went down to Right Life out in Fort Collins. Great store, by the way. If you're ever there, feel free to drop in and peruse the place. They've got a great selection of discs. But at the time, they just didn't have what I was looking for. I was looking on Infinite Disc website the other night, probably about 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, and I saw these Champion Glows, and I know Champion Glow itself, it's a harder plastic. It's not as hard as your regular Champion, with it being the glow plastic, but it'll definitely, you'll get the flight the representation of your numbers. You're going to get that out of this disc in this plastic, but you'll get a full flight and a good finish, great distance on this disc. It has a 6 glide, so it's gonna reach out there for you. The only thing you have to worry about really is the speed. As long as your arm can handle the 13 speed, which mine barely can, but it does fly extremely well and extremely reliable. I was out playing earlier today, and when I threw it was out in the wind at the time, and I got a full flight out of it. I was actually a little leery throwing it with wind in my face because I figured it'd flip out and just keep going on me. Fortunately, the wind died down, and I ended up getting a full flight out of a couple of them. I did get a real hard wind at my back at one time when I threw this, and I threw it straight up in the air, so I didn't get the full flight out of it. But it still went a good ways for me. It still probably went 280, 300 feet, which was far enough for me to take advantage of it. Like I said, great disc. It's a safe haven. It has its safe haven in my bag. It's not going anywhere. It's going to stay. I don't foresee any disc taking its place anytime soon. Well, that's all the discs that I have in my bag. The other things that I have in my bag is over here. I've got the rule book. Always carry the rule book. Always have it on me. That way I know exactly where it is. And if I'm out playing in any tournaments and any kind of questions come up, it's just good practice to have that in your bag at all times. Another thing I keep in my bag is my PDGA card. Always keep it in there. I never keep it in my wallet. I always keep it in my bag because I know if I'm out playing at a tournament or whatever, I'm going to have my bag with me, so I'm going to have my card. I don't always have my wallet handy when I'm playing at a tournament. I try to keep that separate, but I know that my card's going to be there if I need it. Also, I keep some chapstick and some sunblock in this one over here as well. Whenever I need just kind of put some on real quick, rub across my nose because I know that likes to get sunburn. Chapstick, always take advantage of that. Always need that because out here in Colorado it's dry as it is, and get a little bit of sun on your lips and get dry, and whew, it'll start cracking and everything on you. Up in the top, we are coming out of the winter months. I always carry my beanies up here. I also have a set of gloves that I've taken out already, but I always keep the beanies up there. As the weather gets a little more reliable as far as staying warm, these will probably come out, and I'll just set them aside until the fall. Now, I will say I will be putting a raincoat in here as well. I usually have that in my truck. when we're going out playing. Just in case I need it, I'll just throw it in here. It doesn't stay in here all the time, but the majority of the time it does. Also have the necessity sunblock. Gotta have it. Gotta have it. And the little knee protection, one if you have to drop to a knee to make a putt. Got a little bit of knee protection here so you won't hurt your knee if you're on rocks or twigs or something like that. Very handy. I have a couple of markers. This one here, there we go. Got the TDG stamp on it. We have a bunch of these stickers made up, guys, so if you see them around town, give us a shout out. Also, Fat Tire. I will say when I was younger, that was one of my favorite drinks. That was my drink of choice for a long time. Don't really touch it that much anymore, but I won't say no to one, that's for sure. Over here on the side, this is where I keep my snacks, and I also have some wipes. Always have wipes in my bag because you get out on the course, you're grabbing stuff off the ground, you're grabbing your disc, you're going to get, your hands are going to get tacky or whatever, and then next thing you know you're going to be grip locking and everything else. So I like to keep my hands wiped off, keep my hands clean, and if I have to, I'll also wipe off my disc, make sure that they don't have any kind of tackiness on them, any sap or anything like that. So definitely keep that handy. Up in the front, I've got my little bean sack here to keep my hands, keep it dry. Keep it dry. Got to do that. I will say out in Colorado, it is a dry climate itself. So if you use this too often out here in Colorado, it's gonna your discs are gonna slip out of your hand. You're gonna have early releases. So you got to be very careful. Use it smartly. But if we're playing out in the East Coast or wherever when it's hot, humid, your hands are going to get a little slick. So just kind of throw that in your hand, dry them off a little bit. You're good to go. Also, one other thing that I would say everyone should have in their bag, Sharpie. Make sure you have your Sharpie because all your discs, if you're playing in tournaments, they have to be marked. So make sure you have these because if I'm throwing stuff in my bag, depending upon what course I'm playing, I'll pack up my bag based on whatever course I'm playing. Sometimes I'll tweak some things in my bag, some of the discs, and sometimes I'll grab one that I haven't labeled up, I haven't put my mark on yet. So make sure you have this with you at all times. It's a great place. Put it in your bag, throw it in there, you're good to go. You always have it ready, you're always prepared. Last thing that I keep in my bag, another necessity, especially when you're playing in around water, ponds, lakes, whatever the case may be. Retriever. You gotta have the retriever. This one here I've modified a little bit. When I bought it, it had a 25-foot string on it. That wasn't going to be long enough. Some of the places I play, you're gonna, it's a lot further. You're gonna need to try to retrieve your disc a lot further. I am that unlucky, if you will. So what I did was I took the 25-foot string off, put a 100-foot paracord on it, some of the small paracord, tied that to it. Been a lifesaver. I've retrieved several discs with that's been out of my reach for a 25-foot string, but that 100-foot upgrade, way to go. All right, guys, that about wraps it up. That's what's in my bag. I hope this helped you out a little bit, so you know what I'm throwing and you know why I throw it. So that's all I've got. Thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hope you enjoy this video, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one.